Hello everyone! Today, we'll be seeing how fast Armaldo can beat Pokemon Sapphire in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. Earlier in the month, we did do Cradily, and Cradily did okay, but it still wasn't the best, although Rock Grass is a pretty interesting typing. But today, instead of Rock Grass, we're doing Rock Bug, which I figured is also interesting. Funnily enough, whenever I play these games and Steven Stone has Armaldo and Cradily, I always get their resistances and weaknesses mixed up, because they are quite strange typings. We have 75 HP, 125 attack, which is pretty impressive, 100 defense, 70 special attack, which is 80 special defense, and 45 speed. And we're also in the erratic growth rate, just like Cradily was. So in the early game, we're going to be leveling up extremely fast, but it's going to crater very quickly. So because of that terrible speed, I'm going with a Jolly Nature, which is plus speed minus special attack. It does mean moves like Water Gun won't do much damage, but I'm mostly going to go physical anyway. I'm also using Hidden Power Ghost for that reason too. Hidden Power Ghost is generally the best hidden power for physical attackers that don't have a good solution for Tate and Liza. And my ability is Battle Armor, which just means I can't get crit, which is nice for consistency. On our level up moveset, we start off with Harden, Mud Sport, Scratch, and Water Gun. And then we don't get another move until level 25 where we learn Metal Claw. And then we get Protect, Ancient Power, Fury Cutter, Slash, and Rock Blast. Ancient Power is going to be a savior in this run, because if there's a hard fight, just get an Omni Boost. Simple as that. In the early game though, I am still going to fight a lot of the trainers, even though Water Gun should make Roxanne very easy. Just because I'm in the erratic group, I'm just going to get a bunch of early game XP while I can. And while I'm fighting a lot of the trainers on my way to Rustboro, we should take a quick glance at the TM section. We actually get some quite decent coverage. We get Water Pulse, Hyper Beam, Iron Tail, Earthquake, Return, Dig, Brick Break, Rock Tomb, Aerial Ace, Secret Power, Rest, and Rock Smash. Rock Smash could be our solution for Watson, and plus having access to rock and ground moves is going to be very good. But we'll worry about those fights when we get there. As soon as I get into Rustboro City, I go ahead and get the HM for Cut, as well as the Quick Claw. The Quick Claw is obviously going to be our held item of choice with how bad our speed stat is. So now, why don't we go ahead and take on the first gym leader, Roxanne. She leads off with a level 14 Geodude. I use one Harden just to take less damage from Rock Tomb because I am still weak to rock moves. But sadly, I end up getting a reset just because the rock moves do more damage than I thought they would. I didn't save, so I have to black out and try again. So yeah, that was a sad early blackout. On the second attempt, I get back to the Geodude, but Water Gun is not doing enough damage. The Geodude keeps out healing me, and it ends up killing me, and I don't even gain any XP from the fight. Honestly, this is the one spot where Jolly may not have been the correct nature. Maybe I should have gone plus speed minus special defense or something, so that way Water Gun would deal just a tiny bit extra damage. But honestly, I'm just going to go over to this route right here and just fight some of the trainers. There's not as many trainers in this game as there are in Emerald, but there's still a decent bit. I get back to Roxanne at level 11, and I have my HM users deposited just in case I have to black out. But then guess what? I get to the nose pass and it just honestly throws the fight. Plus, I even get a lucky rock throw miss, although the next one does hit. But it's not going to matter though. My main plan is just to blackout train on the Geodude until I eventually win, which happens at 9 blackouts total at level 14. So yeah, honestly, maybe Jolly wasn't the correct nature, but honestly, we probably still would have done the blackout training anyway. With Roxanne defeated, I withdraw my HM users back, and then head my way down to Dewford Island. But now, we gotta ask ourselves the age-old question, should I fight Brawly now or delay him till later? And our bug typing actually makes us neutral to fighting moves, but we can't learn Bulk Up or anything. So I feel like it's a very easy decision to just skip Brawly and just come back to him later. Since I am still quite worried about Watson, I am gonna take out a lot of the trainers on my way to Mauville. Especially since there aren't as many trainers in this game, especially around the Mauville area. I do all of the training before Rival 2, even get the rare candy in the Trick House, and then I go ahead and fight Rival 2. I have Rock Tomb on the moveset, which is a really unfortunate move. It's my best stab coverage, but it's so inaccurate. And then on the Combustion, I go for Water Gun just because Fighting type does make it neutral, but it's not like it's going to matter anyway because the Shroomish actually ends up killing me because at the very last second, I miss a Rock Tomb. So yeah, that was very annoying, and that ended up being my very first reset. But I do win on the second attempt, so it wasn't that bad. By the time I enter Mauville City, I am around level 21. I'm not going to be fighting Watson just yet though. I'm going to do a bunch of the trainers around the Mauville area, but while fighting this Aroma lady, I actually end up getting a blackout due to bad luck with paralysis, so I end up having to black out back to Mauville and then trying her again. But fortunately enough for me, the rest of the trainers don't really provide any problems, and while doing the training, I was holding the Macho Brace the entire time so I can gain double the EVs. Plus on my moveset, I have 2 new moves, Metal Claw and Rock Smash. And with access to these moves, I feel pretty confident taking on Watson now, so let's see how the fight goes. Watson leads off with his Magnemite. I accidentally misclick and go for Scratch for some reason, and I end up getting paralyzed with Thunder Wave because of it. I'm not holding a Cherry Berry either. I end up deciding to go with the Quick Claw, although that may not have been a good idea. This fight pretty much went exactly how you think it went. On the next attempt, I'm still going to go into this fight with a Quick Claw, and that's just a dumb idea. I outspeed everything on this team except for the Voltorb, and the Voltorb's not even that threatening. I really should be equipping a Cherry Berry. I don't know what I was thinking. By the third attempt against him, I do have the idea of actually using a Cherry Berry, but it only can help me so much. I still get bad luck on the Magneton and get another loss. That attempt didn't go well either, but on the 4th attempt, I finally end up beating Watson and get myself the Dynamo badge. This badge gives me a 10% boost to my speed stat, and it will help out just a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, not really. The whole region is open to us. At least just the western side. On my way up to Fall Arbor Town though, I do get the TM for Secret Power. I will be teaching this in the place of Scratch. Good riddance. And not only that, I can get rid of the awful Rock Tomb and teach Dig in its place. We'll be using Dig to help us at the Maxi fight, as well as help us with Flannery. We do not need to use Rock Tomb anymore. Because pretty soon we will be getting access to our best rock type move, Ancient Power, and that will be my main move of choice. Whether I need the Omni Boost or not, it's just going to be dealing really good damage, because after the same type attack bonus, it will have an effective power of 90. When I eventually get to the top of Mount Chimney, I end up losing to Archie because I'm actually speed tied with his Golbat, and we end up confusing each other funnily enough, because on top of Mount Chimney, Secret Power has the chance to confuse, and we kept hitting ourselves in confusion, but I end up hitting myself more, and that allows his Sharpedo to outspeed and knock me out with Crunch. But on the second attempt, I do decide to equip a Quick Claw, and maybe because it was the Quick Claw or maybe not, but I do win on the second try. And with Archie defeated, we can head on over to Lava Ridge Town and go take on Flannery. She leads off with Slugma. I go ahead and use one Dig for the one shot. Okay, I'm sure the second Slugma will be the same thing. And I was correct, but the Slugma aren't the terrifying thing, it's the Torkoal. I go ahead and use Rock Smash to see if I can get a defense drop, but then I realized, wait a minute, that thing has White Smoke, it's never going to get a defense drop. But fortunately, Overheat did very little damage, it only did like 30 damage, and I'm neutral to the move. So that was honestly kind of surprising. But hey, I won first try, am I right? And now with Flannery defeated, I have to go back to Dewford Island and destroy Brawly, then take on Norman. But before I do that, I make a pit stop into Slateport City to buy some vitamins. And today's vitamin of the day is 4 protein. Carbos are essentially useless to us because of how low our speed is, so we may as well get more attack. Brawly is an absolute joke, obviously, because I'm super over leveled. And now in Petalburg City, we can go take on Norman. He leads off with his first of 2 slackings. I go ahead and use a turn 1 dig, so that way I can avoid its yawn, and then it's loafing around when I get back up. I then switch to a couple Metal Claws to see if I can get an attack boost, because I still do not have Ancient Power yet. I have to wait a little bit before I get access to that move. But fortunately, since his first slacking does not have counter, I just spam Metal Claw all day, and I eventually defeat it, yeah, but I didn't get a single attack boost, and because of that, the Vigoroth is actually able to destroy me. The second attempt goes the same way. I use a bunch of Metal Claws, and I didn't get a single attack boost. Dude, come on. Third try is the charm though. On his first slacking, I finally get an attack boost. And with the attack boost, I do knock out the first slacking, but by the time the second one comes out, I'm at pretty low health. But this slacking is very easy to cheese because it likes to use Focus Punch. So you could just infinitely hit it and it'll never hit you. And because of that, I defeat Norman and get the Balance Badge. This badge provides a 10% boost to your defense stat, which is okay, I guess. Now I have to go throughout the region, get some rare candies, including the one in Petalburg City, the one on Route 110 on this little island, and then I can make my way over to this route right here and make my way to the Weather Institute. The fortunate thing though with Secret Power, while fighting against all these Carvanas and Sharpedos, is that Secret Power for some reason doesn't make contact, so it never activates Rough Skin, which is actually quite nice, because if it did activate Rough Skin, these fights would definitely be a lot harder for sure. And do you guys remember how the first rival fight was causing me problems? Yeah, this one right here didn't cause any problems at all. I'm sure that was expected. And right before we take on Winona, the timing ends up perfect. At level 37, while doing the trainers in Winona's gym, I now have access to Ancient Power. This move is going to be very helpful to us for the rest of the run, including in this gym by the way, so let's see how Winona goes. Winona leads off with a Swellow. I use 1 Ancient Power and I one-shot it and get the Omni Boost. Yeah, see, this is where things are going. I then one-shot the next Pelipper, and then on the Skarmory, it is going to be a 2-shot because it's neutral, but that's fine though. I can just use Ancient Power on the Altaria for the one-shot, and I get another Omni Boost when it didn't even matter. So yep, very easy fight. And obviously, the next gym coming up is Tate and Liza, but I have Hidden Power Ghost specifically just for them, so I don't have to get Shadow Ball. I mean, I don't learn it anyway, so that kind of makes Hidden Power Ghost even more justified. But right now, the erratic growth rate is really starting to hold us back. Plus, while I'm on my way to Lilycove City, I accidentally encountered this Hex Maniac right here with a Duskull, and I'm actually completely out of Ancient Powers, and all I have is Secret Power, Dig, and Rock Smash. Duskull is immune to all 3 of those moves, so because of that, I actually have to take a very long blackout here. Okay, that was completely my fault. I mean, Ancient Power has very low power points, I get that, but I really should have kept a closer eye on it. Fortunately, I'm able to not have any problems with her this time, and then I can make my way to Lilycove City and take care of the rival fight here. There's not really much of a point in doing the rival fight in Ruby Sapphire, because there's no tutor for substitute in the department store, but this fight is still pretty good training, so I'll take it. I need to do all the training I can get. But there is something very bad that happens. I was clearing out the Aqua hideout, I have to take out Matt, and then on the Sharpedo, it hits me with Crunch doing quite a bit of damage, and then on his final Mightyena, I use Secret Power on it to do half, I get hit with Swagger, and I hit myself not once, but twice. And I didn't save before this fight, because this fight is not really threatening at all. And then guess what? His Mightyena here has no attacking moves. It's Odor Sleuth, Roar, Swagger, and Scary Face. This would have been almost impossible to attempt to blackout on, because whenever he tries to use Swagger, it ends up just roaring me out because of the attack boost. This was going to take far too long, so I actually have to reset, and I end up all the way back at the rival fight, and I have to do all of Mount Pyre again. So yeah, this really held Armaldo back pretty dang bad. Maybe Armaldo is due for a re-rank in the new year. We'll see, but I mean, it definitely does deserve one though, because that was just horrifically bad. But fortunately for me, in no time, I am able to get back to Matt, have no problems with him, and arrive in Moss Deep City. Before I take on Tate and Liza though, I'm going to do a lot of the training in the water towards Pacific Logtown. There's no reason to fly to Pacific Logtown in Ruby and Sapphire because you don't have to wake up Rayquaza or anything, but it's still good training. I also do get the rare candy in the Shoal Cave as well. You can only get the rare candy during high tide, but I just set the clock in the player's room to whatever the default time is, which is 10 AM, and conveniently, it equals high tide. And the training was quite efficient. When I started all of the training, I was level 41, and by the time I finish, I'm level 49. But before I take on Tate and Liza, I have to fly to Lily Cove City and delete Rock Smash off the moveset, so now I can finally have Hidden Power Ghost. I do have Return on the moveset too, because you get the TM for Return in Pacific Logtown, so this is going to be a very good move to have. But why don't we go take on Tate and Liza now. They lead off with Solrock and Lunatone. I go ahead and use Hidden Power Ghost on the Lunatone for the one-shot. And then right now the Zigzagoon is just hogging a bunch of my XP, and the Solrock goes for psychic on me instead of the Zigzagoon. So because of that, I'm going to have to defeat the Solrock while the Zigzagoon is hyphening away a lot of the XP. And since Solrock has more bulk than Lunatone does, it doesn't end up going down to one hit, so it's going to have to be a 2-hit, which does make the fight a little bit longer, but I still win on the first try though. Tate and Liza are generally easy in Ruby and Sapphire. They're only level 42 and only have one Pokemon each. Then, in the Seafloor Cavern, I can go ahead and pick up the TM for Earthquake. I'm not going to be teaching this now, but it will be helpful later, I think. And I did save before Archie in the Seafloor Cavern, because I did lose to him last time. But in this attempt, I actually almost died. I ended up beating him on the first try at 16 hit points remaining. I was just lucky to get an Omni Boost. Nah, I take that back. The Omni Boost was at the very end of the fight where it didn't even matter. Yeah, pretty much expected for how Ancient Power works. You always seem to get the boosts when they don't even matter. I run away from the Kyogre like a little bitch. Well, the Armaldo did end up fainting because I couldn't run away, and I end up dying because of it, but it's just a wild Pokemon. I'm going to run away from it. But I do count it as a blackout though. Let's go take out Wallace now, shall we? Let's just forget that ever happened. He leads off with Love Disc. I do have a Person Berry for this fight, just in case I get hit with a Water Pulse Confusion. I Ancient Power the Love Disc for the one-shot, no Omni Boost. I one-shot the Celio, no Omni Boost. Then the Seaking is going to have to be a two-shot. It does activate the Rain though, which will activate Swift Swim, allowing the Seaking to outspeed with Water Pulse, but it fortunately does not get off the Confuse. Then on the Milotic, I actually outspeed it because it doesn't have Swift Swim, and I still don't get an Omni Boost. Then on the Wish Cache, I end up at very low health. It's going to have to be a two-shot with Return, but I end up fainting. So yeah, this fight went bad because I got no Omni Boosts. But on the second battle, I do get an Omni Boost on the Celio, and because of that, I can actually defeat the rest of his team easily with Return. Although the Milotic does live an attempt, but what's it going to do? And now with all 8 badges, we're ready to go take on the Pokemon League. But before I do that though, I do get the rare candy up the waterfall on Route 114, as well as the Acrobite candy on Route 118. And at this point, I now use all of my candies to get to level 62. This will be more than enough to take on Steven Stone at the end. The Wally fight at the end of Victory Road is an absolute joke, and then I arrive at the Pokemon League. I heal up at the center, buy some full restores, and now we need to take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. The first member of the Elite Four is Sydney, the user of Dark types. He leads off with Mightyena, and it does get off a Sand Attack on me. This fight is generally harder in Ruby and Sapphire because he has a Sharpedo that actually has the move Surf, and it's very fast as well. And since there's no tutor for substitute, I have no way of blocking things like Sand Attack. And it's not like a White Herb would help. The White Herb would just activate on Intimidate, not even the Sand Attack. So I'm just going to have to just force my way through this fight. But fortunately for me, I did get hit with a Swagger, and it does activate my Person Berry. so I am able to get an attack boost for free and destroy the rest of his team. Next up is the Ghost type Elite Four member Phoebe. She leads off with her first Duskull. I go ahead and use Ancient Power to try and get a boost, but I get hit with a turn 1 Curse. So yep, immediate reset. On the next attempt, I get a crit Ancient Power, but no Omni Boost. You know what? I'll take that. I can then use Ancient Power on the Banette, and then I can use it on the Sableye, because fortunately, only her lead Pokemon has Curse. But this whole time, I should have just spammed Hidden Power Ghost. There was no reason for me to attempt an Omni Boost. I guess I'm just addicted to the feeling of it. Next up is the Ice type Elite Four member Glacia. Having Ancient Power is going to make this fight an absolute joke as well, because I can one-shot her first Galele, one-shot the Celio, her second Celio, and I get the boost right after it. Maybe it'll matter for the Walrein. I mean, maybe it did. I do one-shot it, but I'm not sure what the raw damage would have been. But basically, her whole team is a one-shot sweep. Next up is the Dragon type Elite Four member Drake. I actually entered this fight with a Citrus Berry because I am going to end up taking a lot of damage in this fight. I do go on Shelgon using 2 Ancient Powers. I don't get any boosts, sadly. And then the Flygon, it actually outspeeds me by 3, but fortunately it doesn't really have good ground moves on me. If it uses Dig, I can just use Earthquake, but then again, it has Levitate. Not like it would matter anyway. Then on the Altaria, I actually get my Omni Boost, and because of that, I can one-shot the second Flygon with Return, and then the Salamence brings my attack down to normal because of Intimidate. But that's fine though. I first tried his entire team, and I still have the Citrus Berry. So now, before Steven Stone, I do need a slight moveset overhaul. I'm going to be teaching the move Rest in the place of Return and holding a Chesto Berry. Let's go ahead and finish this run. Steven Stone leads off with Skarmory. My plan is to try and get an Omni Boost on it, and if I ever get poisoned or my health gets too low, I can just use Rest to get my health back. But fortunately, my 4th Ancient Power is the one that gets the Omni Boost. Next up is the Cradily. I use Ancient Power because it does resist Earthquake. Then on the Cradily, I use Ancient Power to see if I can get greedy with another boost, but it doesn't happen, so I just knock it out with Earthquake. And then I can knock out the rest of his Pokemon with a mix of Earthquake, Ancient Power, and Hidden Power Ghost for the Claydol specifically. And then once the Aggron goes down, Steven Stone is defeated, and I clock in with a real time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 7 seconds, with 12 blackouts, 11 resets at level 70, with a game time at the Hall of Fame of 4 hours and 49 minutes. So yeah, this was not a great run for Armaldo. This thing had a lot of potential. If I had just done more training before I committed to the Roxanne Blackout grind, and if I had remembered to save before some fights like the Matt fight in the Aqua Hideout, or perhaps did a better job avoiding that Hex Maniac when I ran out of Ancient Powers. Better yet, I should have just kept a better eye on Ancient Power, PP. I literally grab a bunch of Lepa Berries and I almost always forget to use them. So I really need to do a better job on that factor. But anyway, I still had a lot of fun with this run, and if we take a look at the leaderboard, it did do quite better than Cradily despite how that part of the game went. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support the channel through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to the patch files for all the backport Pokemon we do on stream. Anyway, this has been all of the Sapphire videos for daily December. The next video tomorrow will be our second Pokemon X video. We'll be doing Pokemon X with Mienshao. We did do Aegislash earlier in the year, so it's going to be interesting to see how Mienshao does. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video for daily December.